Welcome to the Kona airport. We are headed today from Kona, from the Big Island, to Maui. And it's something that a lot of travelers to Hawaii love to do, is to visit multiple islands. They're all totally different, and before COVID it was relatively easy, but with COVID, traveling is a lot more difficult, obviously. So our journey actually started 3 days ago when we had to get our COVID tests, which induced several days of stress waiting for our tests out. We only got back this morning at 6 a.m.
Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit here about the upload process for the State of Hawaii's Safe Travels program. So what that entails is literally 72 hours prior to your flight. Within that period, you have to get a negative COVID test. So this morning at 6 a.m. before our flight, so not stressful at all, we received our results from CVS. So CVS was one of the few testing locations on the Big Island. We had to drive to Waimea from Kona to be able to do that, which is about 45 minutes away. But lo and behold, we have our test results. We have a negative test. Woohoo! So now we have it saved as a PDF. So the next step is to go to travel.hawaii.gov. Once you're able to log in, which is actually straightforward, you can literally just use your Google profile. You have all the resources here to be able to complete the process. So there's a few steps. First, you have to fill out and create a trip. Then you have to go through and fill out a health questionnaire, which asks you a number of questions, making sure that you're feeling okay, you haven't had any exposure, etc. In this case, I've already created the trip. So you can see our first trip going from Dallas to Kona, and now we're going from Kona to Maui. What we actually want to do is go to Documents, and in this case we're going to upload a file, namely the PDF with the negative COVID results. So I can find our trip to Maui here. Alright, so we can go ahead and submit that. And voila, it's uploaded. So we can see COVID negative, COVID negative.
If our test results hadn't come in or had been positive, we wouldn't be able to travel.
We would be subject to a 10-day quarantine if we didn't have results, or of course if they were positive, well,
we wouldn't be able
then
to
you're not going anywhere. As we've seen since we've been at the airport, it's very efficient, it's easy to get through, and you know, once you're past security, things are flying like normal. So just be prepared, know what you're getting into, and make sure that you get those test results as soon as possible.
Folks, just a friendly reminder, please make sure you have your mask covering your nose and mouth for the entirety of this flight.
When you register your trip with the state of Hawaii, like we showed you earlier, they send you a QR code that they will scan when you arrive. This code tells them about your trip and your COVID test results.
So honestly, the actual travel part today, it was awesome. Totally worth it to be able to island hop. The most stressful part is, again, that beginning COVID test and making sure you get the results. That's
so much
the
anxiety.
worst part. Once you get them, totally pain-free. Obviously, you're always taking a risk traveling during a pandemic, but we felt pretty safe because the plane was so empty, the airport was so empty, and here in Hawaii, the regulations are pretty strict. It is pretty pain-free. It was relatively cheap aside from the cost of the test, and totally worth it to be able to get to see and experience another one of these beautiful Hawaiian islands. Be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so you can keep track of us in all of our adventures over the next 2 months on Maui and moving forward around the world.